And the eclipse is happening right now. Or almost over. I'm not sure because it's a lot of cloud cover. And the last time, 2017, when they had an eclipse, the effect that I remember the most interesting was the quality of light through the trees and the way that the light played a shadow on the ground. And it's a little bit happening this time. It's dim. It's usually brighter. Yeah, there it is. See the little crescent moons? That's what happened last time also in 2007. The quality of the light through the trees literally made little crescent moons all over the pavement, as if the light was the shadow of the moon. The sun. The sun as a crescent sun compared to the moon as a crescent moon. Two different qualities. So this one seems to be the light shadow, and the crescent moon tends to be like a dark shadow. I don't know. Anyway, the point is that what you see here is Mercury in retrograde. But see those little crescent moons on the ground? That's the quality of light through the trees. It happened in 2017 also. And I thought that was the most interesting thing about the eclipse, is the quality of the light through the leaves and the trees that plays a crescent moon effect on wherever it's landing, the quality of the light. As you can see, it's not like this usually. Sure, there's light through the trees and it leaves a shadow where the light doesn't go through the leaves, but not usually to this effect. And I don't really want to look. I'm not looking, I'm just holding the camera up to the eclipse and then back down, because I don't think there's much to see up there. There's more to see on the ground. Let's walk around. So that's different. It's these specific type of leaves. Again, these type of leaves, but let's see what it looks like. See, there is even it's an interesting quality of light, I think, is the point. See if I can find something else relative. And I witnessed the same effect it was probably the same kind of tree, but I witnessed the same effect in 2017. I was out front of West Village Market in Delhi, and the quality of light had that similar crescent moon, almost light shadow was the feeling on the ground, like little fishes, but more like a crescent. I showed you a minute ago. I'm not seeing it here. The light has honestly, it has a unique quality. Kind of a nice feeling, honestly. Because the moon, intercepts some of the harsh sun rays. To a certain extent, it does kind of feel like it softens those hard rays. And there is probably a deer. Figured I'd take a video. Just squirrels. The squirrels are acting a little weird this morning. Just running more than right now, a more peaceful vibe. Of course, I'm in the forest. So, peaceful vibe in the forest. I hope everybody else is okay. And realistically, this is a home for deer. This forest is a wonderful place. I wish I could afford to buy it. I saw it on the market for $500,000 a couple of years ago. I wish I had that kind of money. Of course I don't. Otherwise I would buy it and protect it and keep it for the nature, as well as there is one unfinished structure off on the horizon now. It's just a bunch of bricks. It could be made into a very nice tiny cabin in the woods. There's 6 acres. It is for sale for like $1.5 million right now, something like that, $1.6 million. Very expensive, and it's partial use commercial, which worries me. However, if done right and respecting the nature, the way I would do it is fix that structure and make it a vacation rental or a retreat rental for non-smoking, sort of a spiritual focus to enjoy the peace of the woods without making a mess. And there is a ranch house. I think it's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, like a 1996 home, something like that. It's kind of old, but anyway, it is on the market. The reason I mention it is I have nothing to do with selling or buying it, because I don't have that kind of money, but I live right next door to it. And the point is, I don't want to see it developed and lost. There's a family of deer that lives here. Well, they frequent here. It's a beautiful, peaceful place to walk. The value of the nature itself far exceeds $1.6 million. It's pretty priceless. However, if somebody was to buy it, I would hope that the people who bought it had the consciousness to realize the worth is in its untouched nature more than in developing it. And honestly, that goes for even just walking through it. As you can see, there's one piece of trash. So it's frustrating when people leave trash in the woods. But it is a beautiful place. And it would be nice to protect it. So if there's anybody who's got $1.6 million wants to go, I mean, I would help. I don't have any money, but I would love to see this land protected, at least preserved and protected, ideally preserved the way it is for nature and for the rare human that walks through to have a nice place to walk. I live here, so it's a nice place to be able to walk through and connect with nature. And we're right near the Greenway. It is something that I would buy in a heartbeat if I had $500,000. However, that was a couple years ago, and at this point in time, it's like $1.5 million, $1.6 million. And I have not talked to the people who own it recently. I talked to the previous owner, who hung up the phone on me when I discussed the potential, when it was $500,000, to organize a neighborhood buy of it to kind of preserve it for the neighborhood in which I live, which I think is a reasonable proposal. That way, at least the quality of homes is preserved, the value of the homes in the neighborhood is preserved, because there's a local forest. And if it's made into a grocery store or commercial space, then that loses all this. For what? For the same thing we got everywhere else. We don't need more development. clashing against nature, with the buyers thinking, oh wow, what a beautiful view, let's go pave it. You just ruin the whole thing. It's not worth it if they're gonna ruin it. So I'm making this video on the eclipse day, hoping if anybody has $1.6 million and wants to buy this property that has a similar vision, feel free to contact me to preserve this beautiful place. And if you are thinking, wow, how do I make money once I invest in such an expensive property? Well, the structure could be finished, and honestly, something like a small cabin in the woods could make a decent income. Not necessarily enough to pay off $1.6 million, but there is another house that either could be sold or rented on a regular basis that's already finished on the same land. So that could be two sources of income. One being the vacation rental in the woods, the other being the whole house rental, and or realistically it would have to be a rental. And I'd be willing to manage it from next door. That's no problem. I would commit to something like that for a decent living myself, as well as the honor to see this land protected and the deer's home protected. That would be worth my time. And I live right here. I'll try to walk to my house. I'm going to walk up this way. And again, it's in West Asheville, right near the Greenway. Not really trying to publicize trespassing. It's more a sense of honoring the pristine woods in the state that they're in. I live here. So then there's no trespassing. There are no trespassing signs. So honestly, I'm assuming nobody cares that I walk through the woods behind the house that I live in, which is over there. Here is the unfinished structure. Plus I'm doing a bit of free advertising for whoever's trying to sell it. So hopefully if you guys see it, again, my name is Journey. I'm interested in preserving this piece of land, 6 acres, and making it a peaceful retreat for the deer and for the local community, as a place that is sacred to be preserved in its natural state as opposed to developed. I could see that already started structure should be finished and made into a small retreat rental or vacation rental to create an income to reimburse whoever invests in purchasing the property. Otherwise, unfortunately, for this property be zoned partial use commercial, I guess the good thing about that is somebody who's making a living off of a rental or a whole house rental, there could be other things sold, I guess. I don't know. You'd have to look at the city statute about how the laws govern the use of the property. But ideally, the nature should be protected. And it is a sacred space, as every natural space is a sacred space, in my opinion. I mean, it's priceless, you know. This is just a gorgeous place to be, to find peace in a crazy world, and a great place to spend time. The vines are beautiful. However, these vines are pretty invasive. They're not toxic. They're not poisonous. They're beautiful. However, they spread everywhere. And I just pulled a whole bunch up from my yard. because they do tend to climb all over everything and to a certain extent strangle some of the trees, which is a bit of an issue. And in that kind of forest management, as long as there's no chemicals sprayed, I don't see too big of a problem removing some of the vines, or all of the vines, honestly, because they are invasive and can kill out the trees to a certain extent, but they're not as bad as, and that would be like I talk too much. That's what, in other words, it's nice the way it is at the moment, and some of the big trees have nothing to worry about the vines, but some of the smaller trees, these kind of vines can be a bit of a hassle. And they do, to a certain extent, reflect our society, where the sort of spirit vines are trying to grab all the resources. In other words, they're reaching for the light, which is no big deal, but they're reaching for the light on the backs of all the trees. And if the trees can handle it, that's cool. But just like if the planet can handle human greed, you could see where that could be a bit invasive. And if the trees can handle the greed of the spirit vines, then you got a good Legend of Korra animated episode. I like this interesting tree, and of course some amazing trees here. And when it's rainy, there used to be more mushrooms, but the chemtrails, the upper aerosol atmospheric injection, highlighted on geoengineering.org by Dane Wigington and others, and championed in the, hopefully signed into law in Tennessee to ban chemtrails over the state. It'd be nice if North Carolina would follow suit, because I think it's unreasonable to not even hold a vote, and then basically Grandpa wants to play with the thermostat and nobody else has any say in how it is adjusted. So check out Dane Wigington, geoengineering.org, for that more accurate description in some ways of what is a bit of a problem that it would be nice that our collective spirit could literally, stop Bill Gates's greed and stop the chemtrails. I'm sorry, that's the slang term that is, of course, considered conspiracy theory. But in regards to geoengineering, please look at geoengineering.org and Dane Wigington's YouTube channel for more information. I don't like the chemtrails, to say the least. Happy Eclipse Day. I could not witness any kind of eclipse. However, I saw the light quality through those leaves. Everything's a bit muted at this point in time. In terms of the light quality, there's no shadows or light shadows of any kind. I know that's not necessarily a searchable term that has a definition in the dictionary, because it's not really a shadow, but it has a sense of a light shadow. I'm gonna see if it's still there, and then I'm gonna end the video. See, I pulled up some of those vines in the driveway, so I haven't had a chance to throw them away. And for the most part, no. I mean, a little bit. nothing compared to during the eclipse. And so now you have a contrast of how it looks. There is cloud cover, but the little crescent moons are all gone. And these are the type of leaves. I think it's I forgot the name of the tree. Cherry. No, that's not a cherry blossom. Those are the other ones. I just don't remember the name of it. And see, even with the sun out now, there's no crescent moons on the ground. It's just sort of an eclipse type of event. And I only saw it during the last eclipse, 2017. And yeah, it's the same kind of leaves here. And it has the quality where the sun comes through and the shadow of the light, more than the shadow of the dark, is displayed, however you translate that, I don't know, on the ground during the eclipse. In a way, it's like the moon stepping in the way of the sun's harsh rays to say, hang on, we don't need more war. We need some cool heads to prevail and have a new way of looking at things. I started the video with a direct democracy for all.gov as a proposal for a website to display